forget to get. Good evening, everyone. This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is the Rudy Giuliani Show, coming to you from Dover, New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Live free or die. You always got to remember that about New Hampshire. Therefore, it makes us very, very patriotic to be here, because that is quite a statement, that there are things more important than life. One of those things being freedom. I don't know how many people, I don't know how that would, I wonder how that would poll today among Americans. Up until, 15, 20 years ago, that had probably been a 70, 80% number. I don't know what it would be today. Well, the whole situation with Obama is heating up, and it's about time. From the very beginning of this whole debacle in the government, where I guess we could first notice that we no longer had a criminal justice system that fit with a government of laws. It probably was, it was certainly Holder doing Obama's bidding. I don't know if it went back before that. I don't know if it went back into the Clinton people. I don't know. But I can tell you from the time Holder basically said he was Obama's guy at the Justice Department, he completely undid all of the reforms that had been done in the Justice Department after Watergate in trying to not legally but ethically separate it from the politics of the White House, not from the policies of the White House. That is admittedly very difficult to do, but it really is impossible to do if you don't try. And they didn't try. And from then on, the Justice Department has gone downhill, with the exception of during the Trump era, although it's hard to say what kind of control the Trump administration really had on the Justice Department. The whole relationship with Sessions was a very fraught one, and the whole relationship with Barr seems to have been a very phony one on Barr's part, much worse than it even appears, particularly if you take a good look at the situation with the Hunter Biden hard drive that he knew about for such a long time, said nothing about, did nothing about, and allowed the president to get framed, impeached, without correcting the record that the president, or I take this a little personally, or me, was a Russian agent. Barr knew that. Barr knew that to be false, and he let it stand through the election, therefore participating in the election fraud, which may have been as significant, if not more, than the vote fraud, withholding the information from the public about Hunter Biden's computer that contained a flat-out admission that Hunter gave millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to his father during the time that his father was a senator and a vice president, all contained in a very, very neatly, in his own words, to his daughter, which were captured on a text or an email, I've forgotten which. And that would have been in 2019. Also on that hard drive was a straight-out admission by Hunter and his psychiatrist that as of 2019, his father, who then proceeded to be president for 4 years, was demented. They knew it a year before he ran for president. That would have been out before the election of 2020 if the hard drive had not been suppressed and both the head of the FBI and the Justice Department had it hidden under their ass and never released it. It also contained information like the person seeking the presidency, his family, over the years leading up to his running for the presidency, had gotten some $30 million from the Red Chinese government, $3.5 million from the Russian government. I think it would have ended the election without the need for the whole cheating that the Democrats went through. I don't think they could have cheated their way through that. And therefore, in some ways, that fraud might be more significant than the election counting fraud. And certainly it's much more provable in the sense that they've done a good job of denying, and trying to fool the American people about that, and trying to make people who believe in election interference to appear to be insane or overwrought or whatever. But they sure as heck can't do that with the hard drive, since it's the words and the writing of Hunter Biden himself. It's Hunter Biden who says that for 30 years I gave half my salary to my father. It's Hunter Biden who says that his father is demented. It's Hunter Biden who writes out the division of money that amounts eventually to somewhere around 30 million from China. It's Hunter Biden who gets the $1 billion investment in his private equity fund that includes Whitey Bulger's nephew as a partner. I'm telling you things that you sometimes haven't even heard now, except if you heard them from me, because they hide the Whitey Bulger thing. I don't know why. Even the Republicans do, and even Coomer didn't seem to be able to follow up on that, nor was he able to follow up on the very, very damaging admission, which has tremendous legal significance. I think if Coomer were a lawyer, he might have understood it better. But the admission that over 30 years, Hunter gave half of his salary to his father, and you look at what constituted his salary was money coming from foreign governments seeking his father's influence, some of them bitter enemies of the United States. And in some places, very clear quid pro quos, things that Biden did for them at various times. So that, I mean, the main defendant there always appeared to be Joe Biden. And I wrote a book about the Biden crime family, which basically, I think you might even see it behind you. Yeah, it's sticking in the corner there. And that book shows you how to do a RICO case, not even based so much on the hard drive, but on the evidence I had acquired with about 17 or 18 witnesses that was suppressed, never taken by anyone, held up by the State Department, not interested, the Justice Department not interested. Barr took it, held it, rejected it, or never did anything with it. They stole that one for about two and a half years when the case was ready to go before Joe even ran announced for office. The thing I was never able to prove or even acquire something more than an educated surmise about was just how central Obama's role was in all of this. Of course, it made sense he'd be the one running it. Of course, it made sense that this kind of open corruption and bribery wouldn't take place without his knowing about it. I mean, the New York Times article in 2015, unless you were a dope, told you that the Bidens were involved in bribery. All you had to do was read it. Any American president who had an ounce of honesty would have cut off that relationship immediately. So Obama's role in this is hidden and murky, but to say that all knowledgeable people suspected that Obama was at the top of this RICO enterprise or government corruption enterprise would be not saying very much, except that no one would say it because there wasn't much other than surmise from the things you could put together. Now, there's a lot more than that. And therefore, we have to commend Tulsi Gabbard for her excellent work in pulling it together, and the intelligence community that reports to her pulling it together, and obviously showing that, certainly proven beyond any doubt that Obama was aware There may be some work that has to be done at aware and controlling it. But when a president is aware, it gets pretty close to controlling it. And then this is how the Brennan and Clapper and James Cardinal Comey situation also fits in. So the president has President Trump. But I don't know if we have that, but we'll get to it a little bit later. But President Trump, President Trump has described this as treason. So let's listen to him, and I'll explain to you how I think it actually fits in. Although I don't think this is an inappropriate conclusion. Let's listen to it.
Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one look, he's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it.
You know, having been through it with him so much when it was going on and speculating, you know, as you do, but you can't say anything publicly, particularly as a lawyer. You have to have. I don't say probable cause, but something like that. I mean, you sort of get trained for that. This is not a surprising conclusion. It's the obvious conclusion. It's surprising that we got there, or we're getting there. And let's hope we have the courage to go through with it. Prince Obama never belonged in any place that he ever functioned, including head of the Harvard Law Review. He never wrote a note to earn it. It is, I don't know if we want to call it DEI or affirmative action, but it's an example of an affirmative action and the worst of it, what it can do to America. I always felt very, very strongly that the man was certainly had a communist a Marxist ideology. Whether he was a communist or not, I can't say. But during his period of time of more relevance was his absolutely disgusting favoritism for Islamic extremism. I didn't say Islam, I said Islamic extremism. The hundreds of millions of dollars he gave in cash, he didn't give to a Muslim charity group. He gave it to the biggest supporter of terrorism in the world. And why he's out of jail now, having done that, is a testament to how dishonest and corrupt a justice system that we have. I would like some Democrat to come on this show and explain to me how the President of the United States can give cash money to a terrorist and not be guilty of a crime. And all I do is to illustrate that to you. And please, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, will you please reflect on this? When he sent billions of dollars in cash to the Ayatollah was listed in his own intelligence reports from Crooked Brennan as the single biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. Now, if you're giving money, not even cash, but if you're giving money to the biggest sponsor of terrorism in the world, and you roughly know from your intelligence operatives, even completely crooked ones like Brennan and Clapper, that roughly half their budget goes to their terrorism proxies, how is that not a crime? But if you want to make it easier and you want to fill in how it shows his knowledge and intent and his really deep pathological and criminal involvement in it, sending them cash. Obama may be many things. He may even be more crooked than Biden. How do I know? And he may be more treasonous. I don't know. He's certainly smarter. So some calculation had to take place in his head. Why do they want cash? I don't know. Is he used to sending cash around? Does he send cash to Israel? Does he send cash to England? Does he send cash to Mexico? I hope he doesn't. Would it occur to a Harvard-educated, even a Harvard-educated asshole like him? Wouldn't it occur to them that maybe he wants cash because the money's for terrorists? Or drug dealers? Who deals in cash? Not governments. So he sent cash there. Not that he told us about it. It had to be discovered. He never told us about it. He hid it. Did it in the middle of the night. That violates every money laundering statute that's ever been passed. And nobody should go to jail for money laundering since, obviously, we negated that law. And that son of a bitch got away with it. Now, the reason I get really angry about it is they were still killing Americans then. Soleimani was still active. Soleimani was still at the height of his ability to slaughter Americans. The Quds Force was focused on killing Americans in Iraq, and unfortunately did. And it's the reason why Trump ultimately obtained justice. They never would. In fact, I think Biden criticized Trump when he hit Soleimani. To give you an idea of what side they were on. So to see Obama now as possibly at the top of this endless attempt to destroy Donald Trump is not surprising. And the evidence appears pretty solid, and I think it's going to get stronger because some of these people are going to turn if they start conducting an investigation, and you can put people in it with a little more brains than Coomer. You know, I mean, Coomer seems like a nice enough guy, but Jesus was way over his head. He missed stuff that was hitting him in the head. The email text to the daughter, which would be a prize to any prosecutor as an admission, which gets special status in a charge to a jury, is really out. It's can only be explained as, well, it can't be explained, and I won't explain it other than to say that I think if this is in the hands of prosecutors, this can be a lot better than if there's some kind of a House investigation. Republicans have proved not to be able to hit the bullseye in their investigations, and the Democrats seem extraordinarily able to do it even when they have no evidence. So I'd rather see this in the hands of of prosecutors where it will be, because Tulsi Gabbard referred it to the Justice Department. And now we're going to see if the President of the United States was in charge of a multifaceted conspiracy. First of all, to deprive the Republican candidate of the presidency, and then to dislodge a lawfully duly elected president based upon purchased false evidence with complete knowledge that it was being done. So let's hope that we have the tremendous courage that it will take to bring that case. Because if we can, we may just end this damn thing for good, or at least for a very long time, because it will end the notion that there are people that are high enough that can get away with this. While all of this is going on, for some reason, Hunter Biden has decided that his comments are worth something. I don't know if they are, so I'm not going to say very much about them, except I don't know why someone publishes him saying that Trump is an effing thug. And I think he said that the drugs that were found in the White House weren't his, which means now we've got to take a good look at his mother, his stepmother, his father, his other relatives, and that he also likes to have us believe that he's been straight for the last 3 to 4 years. Up until then, he hadn't gone 2 weeks of being straight. And there were times in which he was walking around during his trial in which he looked like he was on Jupiter. Well, I'm not even going to comment on his ridiculous comments. I don't know why we have to listen to a degenerate drug addict who destroyed his father's presidency, but probably because his father destroyed his life. I mean, I've always thought the real villain here is Joe, not Hunter. Joe was probably a drug sort of attracted, or what would you call that, addiction-prone youth, and a weakling. And his father put him in right in the middle of it. I mean, the last guy that should be used as a bagman is a guy who's a drug addict. I mean, there were so many bums in Washington that would have done his father's calling. He could have kept his son out of it if he had any love for him. But his love for his son is probably expressed, or Biden's real soul and the stepmother is probably displayed with regard to their reaction to Navy Biden, Hunter's illegitimate child. And I say that only to distinguish her. I don't think there's anything wrong with her. Nothing wrong with poor Navy. It's not her fault. But the way they've treated that girl is, the way the Bidens have treated that girl is less than human. And it gives you a sense of how bad they really are. We had evil people at the top of our government in every respect. Personal evil, governmental evil. Who knows what damage they did to us, huh? Well, the Syria situation with the Druze and the Christians is a serious one, because I'm very conflicted about it. I don't know I don't know, I'm not saying this, I don't know if we aren't having a fast one thrown by us here. There is no doubt that for several months, in that southwestern part of Syria, where the Alawites, the Druze, and the Christians all live, that there have been slaughters going on akin to a genocide. There have been complaints of thousands of Christians being killed. There have been complaints of even more Druze being killed, and before that, Alawites. And the blame is put on local militias, and this vaguely termed expression, the Bedouins. Well, they're all Bedouins. That's where the Palestinians are Bedouins. I don't know what that means, the Bedouins. But then when the Syrian army started to come in to bolster the Bedouins, particularly with regard to the Druze who have a large representation in Israel and an extraordinarily close relationship with the Israeli government, not just Bibi's, but from almost the beginning, asked for help from their friends and allies. They've helped Israel numerous times, and Israel came and helped them. And then we see articles here in America that Bibi is gun happy or slaughter happy, or that he's lost control of himself. Or this is worrying me, because Bibi did exactly the right thing. And I don't know, if you can't develop enough empathy for the Druze or understand what a critically important part they play in keeping the state of Israel together and ultimately then help the United States, I'm sorry for you. But if you are a Christian and you realize that this group kills Christians with the same enthusiasm and irresponsibility as it kills Druze and Israelites. And they have, in fact, in the last several months, been enormous numbers of complaints of Christian communities being wiped out in that part of Syria. Then you have to say, are we overlooking something we shouldn't be, because we've got ourselves, as sometimes happens in every State Department, we've got ourselves in fairyland about peace. And that this guy who runs Syria, who was a maniacal killer until a few years ago, who hated Christians, hated Jews, hated Jews and Druze, that he's playing two sides against the middle, and one side is to wipe out the Druze and to wipe out the Christians. And that when we tell them to calm it down, and it doesn't seem to calm down, maybe our desire for an Abraham Accord is not the end. After all, the Abraham Accord is to create peace, not to be used as a temptation so that we overlook who our friends are, who our enemies are, and where the best interest of the United States finally resides. Now, these are reports that are documented. Since early July, Suwaida is the province of Syria in which these three communities, and it goes beyond Suwaida, but these three communities exist. And the reason it was attacked originally is this is where Assad comes from. And but in that community, there are three. It's not just one group that controls it. The Alawites are Assad's group. They are less hardcore Druze. If you want me to explain the religious distinction, I will later, but I don't want to go off on that. It's a little complicated. Then you have the Druze I'm not even sure they consider themselves Muslim. Many scholars consider them a derivative from the Muslim. Let me say this would be right. They're a derivative from the Muslim religion, far enough away so that religious Muslims would not accept them. And I'm not just talking about like extremist religious Muslims. I'm talking about anyone who strictly follows the religion. I'm not even sure they consider themselves Muslims. They do read and use the Quran, but they also use parts of the Bible, and they have their own epistles. And they are despised, particularly by the Shia Muslims. And the Shia Muslims are the Muslims in Persia, in Iran. and they're and for centuries have been tortured by them and killed by them because they're much larger and much bigger. They became strong allies of the state of Israel from the very beginning. They have a temple in Haifa. They're very much protected in Israel. They participate in the Israeli government. Now, this goes back to before early July, but the documentation, including a lot of video documentation, since early July, Soweto province has seen almost daily clashes between Druze defense units and Shiite militias. How about this? And jihadist groups aligned with the new Syrian regime. So when you say Shiite militias, they like to describe them as Bedouins. There's no Bedouin terrorist group. I mean, this may very well be the terrorist group that claims that it stopped being a terrorist group and has taken over Syria, and that we want to make peace with, and we lifted our sanctions on. I'm not sure of that, but I'm not sure of the opposite either. Villages have been attacked, homes burned, shops looted, civilians abducted, and churches, many, burned to the ground. Horrific incidents such as the reported slaughter of multiple Christian families in Al-Qara, including the Christian pastor and his family, have been reported. These attacks are described as part of a deliberate campaign by Iran-linked Shiite factions and regime affiliate militias. Regime means the current regime now that we kind of recognized. They're aimed at undermining the Druze community's autonomy and destabilizing Soweto province. The Orthodox Church, that's the Christian Orthodox Church, that's actually the Greek Orthodox Archbishop in Syria, and other organizations are pleading for an end to the massacre. Over 1,000 Syrian minorities have been killed by Syrian forces and ISIS terrorists. So that's the intelligence reporting before the head of the Druze community went to see Netanyahu and asked for his help in stopping this. When Bibi did this, he was trying to prevent something approaching genocide in that particular area for the Druze and the Christians. He wasn't even doing it strictly. Well, he was doing it for Israel. He was doing it in the best sense of the word for loyal Israelis, because the Druze are loyal Israelis. Now, I don't know if what he did worked. I think the killing is still going on, probably at a lesser degree. But I do know that Israel has taken tremendous heat for this, including in the United States, as Bibi being he wasn't being trigger happy. And then, of course, they equate this or kind of connect it to the unfortunate attack on the Christian church in Gaza that killed about a dozen people, which the IDF has apologized for, and which you have to know was unintended, because there's no possible way that the IDF, which is I think you would concede smart and politically savvy, is going to go ahead and deliberately blow up a Christian church. So it is a shame that happened, and it's a shame that it has to happen. But maybe those Christians, I don't know what the hell anybody's doing in Gaza. Why would you want to live under Hamas? Maybe they had no choice. And the Israelis maybe should have been more careful. I don't know. War is very difficult, and Israel should be get a warning about that. But that's a dozen people. We got over 1,000 Christians getting slaughtered just a few miles away, and nobody cares. In fact, it's going. The Israelis, as far as I can tell, have stopped. The others haven't. And it seems to me we're siding with the people killing the Christians. It'd be as if we said to Bibi, keep going. Find a few more Christians to kill. Because that's what we're doing in Syria. You really trust that guy running the government? How many terrorists do you really think make a full convert? We say the guy's in jail and he makes a conversion to Jesus. What did this guy convert to Muhammad? We'll be right back.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NirvantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NirvantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
Friends, we all know the truth. Big Pharma and the federal bureaucracy have made a mess of healthcare in this country, and boy, that's an understatement. President Trump signed an executive order to bring prices down, and that's a great step. But we know that real change takes time. There's one pharmacy that is already stepping up. I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're not waiting. They're taking action now with a summer sale that gives you the power to take control of your health. Right now, through the end of June, you get 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. Did you hear that? 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. They work with licensed doctors in all 50 states, and they ship fast straight to your door. Whether it's ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, antibiotics, emergency kits, or your daily prescriptions, this is a time to stock up. If you believe in medical freedom, if you're tired of waiting for someone else to fix things, do what I do. Take action. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell and use promo code Lindell20, Lindell 20 for 20% off your entire order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com Lindell, promo code Lindell20. Let's protect our families, defend our freedom, and make America healthy again together.
Well, it's been another busy day here at the White House. President Trump met today with the president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., as both sides work to strengthen security and economic partnerships amid evolving Indo-Pacific geopolitics. Marcos and Trump discussed trade deals as China has been more assertive in the South China Sea, noting on Truth Social the Philippines is going open market with the United States at 0 tariffs, and that the Philippines will be paying a 19% tariff. At the same time, the president is also demanding demanding Fed Chair Jerome Powell lower interest rates to 1%.
It's something you sort of have or you don't have. They don't. The job he's done is just terrible. He ought to raise interest rates. You know, we should be at 1%. We should be leading the world. Instead, we're paying 4%. And if you look at what that means, that's over $1 trillion in interest that we have to pay. That with the striking of a pen, we would be saving more than $1 trillion.
However, the issues of trade and the economy weren't the only focal points during this meeting. Here's what President Trump said when asked about the DOJ's top priorities.
From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it.
Trump has made it clear that he is much more concerned about Tulsi's discoveries involving Russiagate than he is about the Epstein files, which has been a huge point of contention within the MAGA movement over the past couple of weeks. Just this morning, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche announced plans to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell in a bold effort to uncover the full extent of Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network. AG Bondi is seeking to identify uncharged third parties and obtain additional evidence related to Epstein's operations. She has also directed the FBI and the DOJ to release further disclosures. A statement from Blanche reads, "This Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truths nor from the responsibility to pursue justice wherever the facts may lead. At the direction of Attorney General Pam Bondi, I have communicated with counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell in the coming days. Until now, no administration on behalf of the department had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. That changes now. Something about this, however, is very suspicious, because why now? Why are they just now going to get a statement from Maxwell, who's arguably the #1 witness, right? Wouldn't this mean no real investigation was conducted? And better yet, will we actually see Maxwell testify before Congress? Well, House Republicans are preparing to issue a subpoena for Maxwell to do just that. But conveniently, Speaker Mike Johnson has closed the House early, launching the 5-week August recess ahead of schedule, which will not only delay this potential testimony, but also block a vote on the release of the Epstein files. When pressed by a reporter, Speaker Johnson claimed the Trump administration needs the space to deal with the Epstein situation.
Here's what I would say about the Epstein files. There is no daylight between the House Republicans, the House, and the president on maximum transparency. He has said that he wants all the credible files related to Epstein to be released. He's asked the Attorney General to request the grand jury files of the court. All of that is in process right now. My belief is we need the administration to have the space to do what it is doing. And if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we'll look at that. But I don't think we're at that point right now because we agree with the president.
So no vote on this resolution before August recess.
We
had this up.
Will we see justice for Epstein's victims? Will Obama and his cronies be held accountable as well? Well, that remains to be seen. Reporting for LindellTV, I'm Allison Steinberg.
Well, Allison has certainly raised a lot of questions that need to be answered. I have to say that my reaction to this whole Epstein thing is, you know, in football, I think football is maybe the one where it's used, maybe not. I think you could even have it in tennis and unforced error. This just could have been handled so much better. And I really think that when I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it right now. We'll devote some very special time to this because it requires it. We have in the past, but we'll do it again when we have a little more information. But the reality is that It is at least my belief, and I could look. I don't have any. I have available to me all the information that you do. If you read the papers and you read everything, I have no inside information about this, except the investigation I conducted as Trump's lawyer, which assures me beyond any doubt that Trump had no involvement with him that would be at all compromising. I don't even mean, I'm not even getting close to the worst charges, because their relationship had ended a long time before that, and there'd be no way that Trump would have ended it the way he did if Maxwell too, Maxwell and Epstein had him involved in the kind of perverted activities that we fear or suspect that others were involved in. I mean, Trump basically unceremoniously and rather publicly embarrassed him and threw him out of Mar-a-Lago and the golf course because he had been abusing, annoying young women, and not underage young women, young enough so that you shouldn't be doing it, but not young enough so that it would be illegal. So in any event, I do think that it is a good thing that the Justice Department's going to interview her. I cannot tell you why they didn't do it before. I do think that if there was seriously compromising material here involving Donald Trump, we would have had a selective leak of that during the prior administration. In fact, I have no doubt that we would have. So this is going to take a while to work out as to exactly what the story is behind this. There is definitely a story behind it, but it may not be, and I doubt that it is, the conspiracy that people think it is. Well, Iran, you know, the issue with Iran, which is probably, I mean, the biggest problem we face is China, Russia, Iran. I would say that if you want to calculate in terms of priority over the next 20 to 30 years, who or what do you have to take down to save American lives? It may very well be the regime of terror in Iran. Not that they can challenge us for world leadership. They cannot. China can. But China is not. China is not medically or pathologically insane. They're evil. They have the most evil ideology so far invented by deranged human beings called communism. But they have a leader who is a murderer to his core, evil to his core. But you're going to find this very difficult to equate, and maybe it's a question of definition, but he's rational. He's going to make, not the guy you're seeing on the screen. That guy's not rational. That guy is living in some kind of a 7th century Mohammed box. Or he's a massive crook, or maybe both, like his boss was, Mohammed. The one I'm talking about is Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping is not him. Xi Jinping may have killed as many people as he has. Xi Jinping may be on a scale of morality as evil as he is. But Xi Jinping is a very cunning, conniving, rational actor in trying to get where he wants to get. This is just a way of telling you that I think the most immediate problem that we face, and again, it's also a question of the most immediate problem that we face that we can solve right now. And the timing for solving it may never be better, is the reign of terror and the Ayatollah. So, a couple of weeks ago, there was, or was it a week ago? Time goes by so quickly. There was this big issue and the false report. I've forgotten even who put this one out. I think this was CNN, not the Wall Street Journal, that there really was not much damage done to the nuclear facilities in Iran. Now, that is patently ridiculous, since we dropped, what was it, 30,000-pound bombs that even if we dropped them in the wrong places, would have destroyed a good deal of Iran for the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, we could have missed the target, and it would cost these guys a couple of $1 trillion to put it back together again. And that's plenty of damage for them because they have no money, because we're tying it up. And I know that because I get very, very valid reports about the financial pressure, the economic pressure within the reign of terror, within the regime of the Ayatollah. So Abbas Araqchi, who is trying to be they always try to feature these, they've been pulling this reformer thing on us since they had the hostages. I mean, we've done the most ridiculously stupid things based on the reformers. We've gotten people killed over it. This Araqchi is as much a reformer as Sammy the Bull was for John Gotti. And luckily, Sammy the Bull ratted. Maybe Araqchi will rat too. But Araqchi, who's now been featured, on interviews and things like that, and he did admit on the Fox News report that the facilities have been seriously damaged. So, and they're now stripped of the ability to enrich, but they're going to start again. So I want you to put a price tag on it. That's about $2 trillion that they don't have. And if they try to take it, they're going to starve their people even more. And the more they starve their people, the better chance there is for an overthrow of this guy's boss. The guy you see on television right now with that stupid-looking beard is a thorough, out-and-out murderer terrorist. And his boss is the Ayatollah Khomeini. He cannot do a damn thing without him, or he won't have that head on his shoulders. Do we have a video from him that we want to play, Ted? I know we only have a short while to go, so maybe we'll hold that over. I don't think we have time to play that. No, we don't. Iran's foreign minister? That's the Iranian foreign minister. And
topic 4, the first video.
I mean, these guys do an unbelievable job over 4 decades of fooling everybody but me. I mean, Tucker Carlson, and
Don't play it.
They sit there like they're telling the truth. But I think this is the guy who told Tucker Carlson we never killed any Americans. And Tucker sat there like, there's something I'm missing here, but the reality is they're on the ropes. They just told you they're going to build up their nuclear arsenal again. Why the hell do we want to face this 3 years from now again? Why don't we take out whatever else remains, huh? Let's see if we can get this religious monster overthrown. And don't give me that things could only be worse. Don't give me that shit. I mean, that is used every time you don't want to overthrow anybody. But you didn't use that in Libya when you wanted to overthrow Gaddafi, right? You didn't use that in Iraq when you wanted to overthrow Saddam Hussein. And the reality is that the gap between this guy and what could happen is like this.
1 minute.
The gap there was like that. And if we do worse, what are they going to do? Kill more Americans? We'll just bomb them again. The chances are, from a lot of reliable sources, more than reliable, that this is the time, and that if you put the pressure on, they're on the ropes, and the people of Iran have had it. Or let's say the people of Persia have had it. Remember, we're talking about a different country. When they say, oh, it's like Iraq, it'll be like Iraq. Come on, grow up. How about becoming no country is like another country. You can't say because it went wrong in Iraq, it's going to go wrong in Iran. It could, but it's a different country. So let's you and I sit down and talk about the differences between the two before you make that sort of mindless just statement. Okay. Right. This is the problem when you don't have intelligent people in government. So, God bless America. Go on X now. We'll continue this conversation, and we'll get Ted involved, and hopefully we'll get you involved. All right? So go over to X. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 right here on LindellTV. And don't forget to watch Dr. Maria tonight, right? Tonight's Wednesday, right? Or is today Tuesday?
Tuesday, no show tonight.
Today is Tuesday. So you stay with me until soccer time. God bless you. And God bless America.